I'm Pam Hayes. I'm from Hayes Sewing Machine Company, and welcome back to our creative videos. Today we're going to be doing a 3-yard quilt, and it's done out of the Fast and Fun 3-yard quilt book. And the one that I'm going to be showing you how to do today is Courtyard quilt. As with always, if you don't know what a 3-yard quilt is, it's in this particular book, any of these quilts that you see on the back cover are going to be achieved by doing 1 yard of 3 different colors. When you're working with it, it's going to give you a quilt that is roughly, in the case I'm doing today, 44 by 62. But in the book, they'll also talk about what you'll need to do if you need to enlarge. So if you wanted to do a twin, queen, king, they'll tell you all the different yardages that you need for that. All right, this particular quilt only has 2 blocks. Yay, real simple, okay? And they have what they call Unit A and then Block B. All right, so take a look. I've done some of the sewing for you. This particular one is Block B, and this one is Block A. I've done puppies. I love puppies. So I have a center red block. So the 3 colors are the red, the poppies, and then the green. So let's get started. So basically, when I am putting this together for the block, that's going to be Block A, I'm going to line up, and I'm going to have the center red section, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to have 2 poppy strips on either side. So basically, go over to your sewing machine, and we are going to sew these together. They're going to be done with a 1/4 inch seam, and I'm going to stitch on either side. And we're going to sew all the way down. We're working with a 1/4 inch seam. And we're going to plop this other guy down, again, 1/4 inch seam. Line up the edges, and we're going to sew all the way down. This small section that I'm doing here, because I've used up most of my fabrics, because again I've done the quilt, will actually should give me enough for 2 blocks. So we're going to go over to the ironing board, and I'm going to press to the poppies, or the outside section. All right. Then I'm going to come over to my rotary mat, and I'm going to neaten up my edge. Remember, use one of the lines on your ruler to line up with the seam. And we're going to just take it, we're going to cut that piece off. Nothing says happiness like a new blade in your rotary cutter. And we're going to go 4.5 inches. So count it over, 4.5 inches, and this is going to be our straight center section. Slide it over, and we're going to do the same thing again, 4.5 inches. Okay, so now at this point we have our center unit, and now we're going to go and we're going to line up and do the other sides. So I have my strip of material, and there you go. So we're going to put this on either side. So when we come on over, I bring my blocks. I'm going to line this up. Okay, I'm just going to slip this in. Can you see how I'm just going to slip that underneath? We're doing this assembly line style. It's kind of how I did it with all my other ones. All right. So at this point, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to cut them apart. Just do a rough cut. And then we're going to line it up and we're going to do the same on the other side. You don't have to worry about pressing in between because see how this doesn't touch the other guy, so we are absolutely fine. And we're just going to sew all the way down. Again, slide it in, make sure I have right side up. And we're going to slide and go down the other side. Okay. I like to separate the block again, just so I have it kind of out of the way. And we're going to go and press. And again, we're going to press. So that the seam is going to the outside edge. Okay, we're going to come over to our rotary mat, and we need to basically have it so it's going to line up, and we're going to get all the little extemporaneous things. Line your seam up with a mark on your rotary block. With your block of fabric, I should say. All right, line it up, move it to the other side. Okay, so one is done. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. All right, we are done. Pretty fast block. There you go. Sorry, down better, huh? All right, so now, next one. So that's block A. We're going to do block B. And block B, if possible, is even easier. All you have to do with block B is we're going to line up our two bits. So we have two different fabrics, and we're going to stitch them down. Again, 1/4 inch seam. Try not to tug or pull them. We don't want to have anything bowed again, I'm focusing like 6 inches at a time. All right. Now, we are going to go and we're going to press it so that it's being pressed, in my case, to the red. Okay, so now get our pretty squares out of the way. We are now going to cut these into units of 5 inches. So I want to make sure I get my salvages off. Again, the line between, in my case, the red and the green, I find a line on my ruler. So it's going to keep me nice and straight. And we're going to do 5-inch cuts. When you're doing this, you need 4 of these blocks to put together to make one bigger block. So again, we're going for 5 inches. Four, yep, I need 3 more. Okay, whew, we just got it. We just have a little bit left. All right, now when we go to do this block, it's lining it up. You are going to have that as your first unit, because what's going to happen is we're going to mirror that. See, it's going to go like that. So when I take it, I'm going to have the red basically meeting the red, and we can do all the way down. And no matter what, I always have to line it up and lay it out. All right, so they're all going to be the same. All right, so here and there. So the 2 that we just did are going to basically make our block. So I just want to open it up to show you. Okay, so we have that. And then, ta-da! Okay, we have 2 more to do. 2 more of the sets. So, like so. And again, I always have to look. And like so. Stop.
you have it the same way as you?
I'm getting coached to stop. I don't think you have that the right way. And she's probably correct. So.
No, not necessarily. Just flip it around. It's just you were sewing it from the thing.
All right, here.
No, you had it. Okay. It was just upside down.
Yep, from before.
From before.
Alrighty. All right. So, this is the block that we're looking to achieve. What we want to do, this center section, we want to have one being seam allowance being pressed to the left and then one being pressed to the right. So basically I'm going to be pressing it to that long section. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with my second block. All right, so again, that's what we're trying to achieve. Now, we're going to flip this, and it should be absolutely fine because we have straddled our seam allowance. So we have one seam allowance coming one way and one the other. However, you know if you are a slight bit off, if it's going to make you twitch, and the only thing you see when you look at your pretty quilt is, look at those two corners that aren't lined up. What I would encourage you to do is do a quilt tag. So you're going to do normal stitch length, couple stitches before the seam, couple stitches after. You open it up. Looks good to me. And the only reason I'm doing that is because Loretta's standing right next to me. At home, the seam would already be sewn. I have a 3-foot rule. If it looks good from 3 feet, don't worry about it. All right, we're going to stitch across. Alrighty. Yep, that looks great. So we're going to do the same thing here. So this is the seam we're looking at. We flip it over. Again, I'm taking a look. The seams are nestled together. I'm going to do a little quilt tag. Open it up. Looks good to me. So, there you go. We're going to take and we're going to lay this down. And we're going to stitch through the seam. All right. Now this last row, so we needed 4 blocks. We have 2 of block A and 2 of block B. All right, so you see, this is the top. Poppies, green, poppies, green, poppies. So the last one is going to start with a green. So we're going to go green, and then poppy, green, and then poppy again. So we're just trying to alternate. So whatever side you look at, green in this case, on the opposite side, green, poppy, green, poppy, green. I should be starting with a poppy, and I am. Okay, line this up. The thing that is awesome with this, there's nothing to line up. Yay! Nothing to line up. You're going to line up your edges. There's no individual seams to line up. The only thing I lined up, you'll see here, this is your smaller block. I made sure that I had it lined up the same way. But that's the only lining up I did. All right, we're gonna go seam the next. Again, you'll love it. There's no quilt tacks needed. Just make sure your edges are together. All right, and we have our last and final guy. Okay, and that is our row. Not too shabby. Now, I want to pay attention to see which way I did the seams. I pressed the seams. So, on this final one, I am basically pressing, I'm going to press it towards my grain. So all my seams are going to go to the grain. So just kind of hold it up. If you think some of your fabric is kind of doing strange stuff, a little bit of best press, gotta love it. And it smells so good. We have the lavender. So if you want it to be nice and firm for you, we're good to go. Now, unpin this. We are going to now take, and I've turned it all around. All right. Now, we do have 3 corners that we need to make sure they're lined up proper. Alrighty. Now remember, quilt tacks. Do a little stitching before and after the seam. Open it up. Right on the money. Especially if you're doing something that has such a high contrast as what we're doing here. You know, the greens and the red and the blacks. If you were doing something that was more, you know, all one color, I doubt if you would see it as much. There you go. And one more. So we get this lined up. And one more quilt tack. So let's take a look. Looks great. Now, this is where you also want to take a look to see if anything is pooching. Technical term, okay? If you see one side is a little bigger than the other, then you want to put that side down towards the feed dogs. It'll help flatten it out. other than those two little the corners, we're just going to sew straight across. And this one's laying perfect. All right. And there you go. So now we have,
Let me get around to the other side.
there you go.
Yay, beautiful.
Yay! Now, we have 3 borders to go around this. And it's going to have the red border first. It is then going to have the green. Let's see if I can get a little bit. There you go. The green. And then it's going to have the poppy as the last border. So I think that's going to be really sharp. And we'll be right back and I'll show you what those look like. Hi, I am back and I just wanted to let you know that I finished the borders. Yay! So the red, green, and the poppies. I think it's a nice addition. Hope you enjoyed it.